All right, I guess we're live. If not, whatever. Okay. What was I doing? Right.
You're live. I just got the notification on my phone.
You did? Okay, awesome. All right. Well, everyone, I'm Lawrence Mack. Hopefully, you'll know me. Founder of Real Estate Rookies. Currently, I'm a real estate broker at EXP, coming out of Lauren Park, Mississauga. And hopefully, we're having a good mastermind here, just talking about lead gen. So in general, lead gen, I think, gets a bad rap for some people, and for other people, they're like, wow, this is like amazing. So just wanted to get everybody's experience on what everyone's doing, maybe do some objection handling later, and talk about the different type of work that you guys have done. For now, there's at least two people that have signed on previously with the Excel sheet. So I guess I'm just going to introduce them. Or a quick question. Okay, so I'll start with Tom. So Tom, can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Tom. I'm a real estate agent, I guess, sometimes. Yeah, so I like online lead gen. Like you said, a lot of people have mixed feelings about it. And I think a lot of that comes down to expectations. Expecting every lead to result in a sale, you're going to be disappointed, right? The average person who's really good at lead gen online, especially online lead generation, is only going to convert maybe 2 to 4%, right? So if you're getting 20 leads or 100 leads, you can only expect maybe like 2 of them to actually do something with you. If 2 or 3 of them to actually do something with you, so I've talked to a few people that have reached out to me through the internet, and they're like, yeah, I'm getting 20 leads a month and I haven't gotten a deal, right? With lower amount of leads, you can expect lower results, right?
Cool. Colton, can I introduce you and just say hi?
Hi, how are you? My name is Colton Davidson. I work with Remax in Kitchener-Waterloo.
Do you have a video or out of curiosity?
Pardon?
Do you have video or?
Yeah. I'm just not the best dressed.
Oh, never mind. It's so dark. Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, so my name is Colton Davidson. I work with Remax in Kitchener-Waterloo here.
Cool. And how much experience, what platform are you using, and about how much experience have you had with online lead gen?
So I'm using Agent Locator. I'm using another company as well. And I've closed 15 deals with either one of them. Mm-hmm. And I find that it's not just about, it's just not about following up with them once. Like, I've worked with clients that have been with me for 6 months and I follow up with them every week, right? And I'm more of a person that follows up with them until they tell you to go screw off, which has worked. I mean, 15 deals through a company it's been great. But again, it's more of the follow. So the 3 things I live by, obviously this is a Ryan Serhant, but follow up, follow back, follow through. So as long as you follow up with them, you have to follow back with them within 24 to 48 hours. And if you keep up with that every 48 to 24 hours, you will follow through with it as well. But it's time consuming, right? It's not like you get a lead, you call them, you're going to work with them. It's constant calling.
Yeah, it's like the initial spark, I guess, just so you get a contact.
Works, that's for sure.
Okay. Out of curiosity, anybody else here with online experience that would like to introduce themselves? Or we're just going to go with these 2. Anyone? Right? Whatever. We'll just move forward.
Well,
okay.
Hey, Lawrence, I could bring up something.
Yes, please.
So I'm with Property.ca, and we do have an online platform for condominiums generally. Mm-hmm. However, I'm finding it a lot of people are just looking. So I'm actually looking to branch out and explore new platforms. However, I agree with Colton. My whole thing is following up as well. So either drip campaigns or calling, but at least once every other week if I'm not really directly, if they're not actually looking to move anytime soon. But when it comes down to more active clients, it's not every 24 hours, 48 hours, but it's about like every 3 days I would call them, but very much constant calling.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. Anybody else want to introduce themselves? You have 10 seconds. No? All right, we'll just move on then. Okay, so first topic I want to talk about was just the initial contact process, the speed, how you contact them, that kind of stuff. You guys can just jump in anytime. You get a lead comes in, what happens?
Okay, so a lot of people they want to say, you know, speed to lead, call within the first 5 minutes. But personally, I don't do that. I'm not going to just drop what I'm doing. I have specific times that I'm scheduled to call at, and I'm going to call at those times. You know, if I'm at an appointment or whatever, I like to have my computer in front of me so I could take proper notes. As for the first conversation, I find that a lot of people will say stuff like, I'm just looking, or I just wanted to look at the pictures. And what they're actually saying to you is, I'm afraid I'm not ready to move right now. And I'm afraid you're going to try and sell me something right now. And usually once I break that off, listen, you know, I'm not trying to sell you something right now. I just want to find out what is your situation, right? Rather than coming from a position of, hey, I need to book an appointment with you and I'm trying to sell you something, I call them on, hey, you signed up for the website. I just want to find out what is your situation so that maybe I can make sure that we send you out the right stuff and you get the proper help. You know, a lot of people, initially when you introduce yourself, some people have a sales wall that goes up, right? And you got to try and break through that. Say, listen, I'm not trying to sell you nothing. Just, I want to find out what's your situation. What kind of home did you have in mind, right? And just ask them general questions and try and find out what their plan is. You know, sometimes they may be waiting for their kids to move off to school, and they may be 6 months, a year, or whatever their time frame is. You want to find out their time frame, their motivation, and what it is that they had in their mind. So then you can tailor what you're going to say to them in the future and send them to their plan. You know, if someone's looking to buy a condo and you're trying to sell, someone's looking to downsize next year after they retire, and you're sending them houses and trying to get them on an appointment right now, you're going to come off too aggressive, right? So you want to try and just find out what is their situation, what are they looking for. You know, a lot of times they say, I'm just looking, and I say, you know, I understand, and can you correct me if I'm wrong? Most people, when they say I'm just looking, they mean, I want to buy something, just not today. Is that correct? And then they'll usually say yes. And then I say, okay, so if you were to make a move in the future and start talking hypothetically and get them to open up to you to find out what it is they actually want.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know, Tom, I don't know if you send like a first email or not, but if I do it a little bit differently, but if I'm ever in a meeting, I just have a regular email or an email in my notes that I just copy and paste, and I just tell them I'm busy, but your inquiry is very important to me.
Yeah.
So that when I call them,
I have an automatic text that goes out.
Yeah. Okay. So the same idea. All right.
Cool. Anyone else want to add to that? See, Ryan's here. Ryan, you want to talk? No? Yeah. Okay. So Tom, you usually do the time blocking during that time. That way you don't get back to them right away. Is that what you guys do as well, Cameron or Colton?
I follow up with them as soon as I can. Like I believe in the 5-minute moment. If I don't call them in 5 minutes, they're moving on to someone else. So that's why if I'm in an appointment or whatever, obviously it comes to my watch as well. So I would just send them a message and say, hey, it's Colton Davidson calling from Remax. Thanks for reaching out on my site. I am busy at the moment in a meeting, but I will get back to you as soon as possible. And then as soon as I'm done that meeting, I'll call them or email them or text them. But it's some form of communication, either by phone, email, or text.
Mm-hmm. But then you don't necessarily
within
have,
5 minutes.
Like, do you have the information in front of you in case that's what they're asking, or do you just try to, like, I guess you try to set up a laptop as soon as possible and get?
I just put it off on my phone. Like I just open my phone and have it on my phone. So I will call. Like I don't know. And people appreciate, like, some people that I call back within 5 minutes. They're like, oh, I literally just signed on to this site and you're already here for me. And I just say, that's part of my business. Like my follow-up is huge for my business. Right. And people appreciate that. Like if you call back within 3 hours, you've already lost the lead. They've already moved on to someone else.
Mm-hmm. So the idea of, because I'm sure some people are thinking more for setting up purposes, like, oh, I want to be by my computer with the MLS set up and the Stratus and everything logged in with my CRM and stuff before I call you. But you're just like, I'm just going to call them in the car or whatever.
Yeah,
Just call them.
it's all on my phone. Like I just have the Matrix system on my phone, and I literally just take a screenshot of the picture, and it's on my iPad then, and I literally call them right from there. So my iPad's a big part of my business as well.
So are you able to do lookups of more detailed information, or you just sort of say, hey, I'll get back to you about that particular?
Depending on what kind of appointment I'm in or whatever, but for the most part, I will give them all the information that they want. And if it's a quick email saying like, hey, what's your property taxes? I'll just look up the listing on my phone and email them quickly and just say, hey, just in busy at the moment, but your property tax for this specific property is this much. And then when I call them, I've already had that first communication with them, right?
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay, so Cameron, do you want to add to that? No, anything in particular?
I just love the fact that you're using your smartwatch to communicate. I never even thought about that, so that's brilliant. Myself, when I get a lead, I do look into what they've been looking, so I'm a little bit more equipped. I hate to be on the stand in that sense. As for location, yeah, I have to be in my office. I have to be in the zone to make calls. But when I do call, it's just like 40 calls. I'll just go through 40 calls a day and just make them and have them move forward for next time. But when I do get a lead, I will track them down as much as I can during the first 1 or 2 days.
Yeah. I mean, it's a difference in philosophy about how prepared you want to get before calling them. I mean, I've seen cold calls where I was like in a seminar and then a call came in and he just basically just started riffing like, oh yeah, it's 2-bedroom. I mean, 1-bedroom. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I could take that, but everyone's different. So I think it's a good thing.
Again, if you call them and tell them you're being honest and you say, hey, I'm in an appointment right now. I just wanted to give you a call. Sometimes I do that and I just reach out to them and say, hey, I'm just in a meeting right now. I don't have any information in front of me right now, but as soon as I'm done this meeting, I'll give you a call back and we can discuss further. And again, as soon as you drop that first communication, if you're very quick with it, people respect that a lot, is what I find.
No, I think that's a really good point.
I did have one question about following up after a lead. I know the whole the idea of calling within the first 5 minutes. Do you feel this is something that has changed over evolution of technology, how people are just much more searching online and they really don't want to be bothered in such a short window of time? Or do you feel it's still really relevant to when the theory first came in?
I believe it's more the technology. I mean, if someone's online searching, like putting their time for their information, because they have to put their email and phone number into the system, right? No one's going to do that if they're not seriously looking or wanting to look eventually in the next 6 months for a house, right? Like there's a reason why they're putting that information into your system specifically. And if they're on that system, they're going to find like within the next 15 minutes, some other ad's going to pop up and they're going to click on it. And that's going to be another agent, right? So they're on that specific site for some specific reason. You just have to find out what it is, but there's a reason they want to buy. They're spending the time to type out all their information. There's a reason why they're doing that.
Great. So I guess let's talk about the initial conversation. So I'm assuming you guys use Zoom or something to try to get them on a call. Yeah, no. Yeah. I mean, basically. All right. So when you're trying to get them a call, what is your purpose there, and what are you trying to do?
Well, depending on their situation would depend on if I'm trying to book them on a meeting right now. Like if someone is like 6 months off, like there's no point in me getting on a Zoom with them right now, right? I try to wait until they are ready to start looking at properties in person. And I usually say to them, once it gets to the point where I'm talking to them and they're like, hey, I want to go see this. What we'll do is I'll say, okay, listen, before we go out and see any properties in person, there are just a few things that we have to go over because, the market is fairly hot right now. And I just want to make sure that if this is the right property for you, that we're all set up so you don't miss out on it. Right. And then I ask them, do you want to miss out on the property if it's the right one? And they'll usually say no. So I say, okay, we just need about 20, 30 minutes to go over a few things. and make sure that we have everything set up so that if we do find the right property, then we're ready to make a move. And then I'll book them in for a Zoom then at that time.
Great. Anyone else? Colton?
Yeah, again, I do it a little bit different. As soon as that lead comes in, I mean, I'm trying to get them in for a buyer consult as soon as possible. And sometimes I do show them, depending on if they specifically want that house, which I do have a lead company as well, that the lead comes in on that specific property. I'll call them, I'll show them, I'll take the chance and show them the property. And because I give so much value to that person, they obviously, they trust me, even though we've only spent a half an hour with them. So I'll show them 1 to 3 houses first. And then after I show them the third house, I say, hey, unfortunately, if you want to continue working with me, now we have to get into a buyer consult and we have to sign a buyer rep because my time is important, right? But again, I just take that chance and go with it. I mean, I've been burned before, but for the most time, because I'm bringing that value to the table, they want to work with me.
The quick question, the 1 to 3 properties, is that over 3 different sessions or like a 1 session, 3 units?
That will be 1 session, 3 units.
So not like over 3 days, over like 2 weeks?
No. It's literally just like 3 houses. I'll show them, like if they sign into one, I'll send them like a bunch of properties based on the criteria that they talked about.
Yep.
I'll say, okay, Mr. Buyer, like, let's go see these 3 properties. Let's get to know each other, build a relationship. And then as per my agreement, after 3 properties, if you want to continue working with me, now you're going to have to sign a buyer rep with me.
Do you have like an initial, you just said agreement there. Is that some type of like?
Just in my own, like, I guess in my own head. Like,
oh, in your head. Okay. So you don't have them sign.
In my business plan, like after 3 properties, you want to continue working with me, like you're going to have to sign something.
Great. Oh, that's pretty good. I like that philosophy too. Anyone else want to add anything to that? No?
Yeah, I personally, I won't show a single property without a BRA. And if I'm having the buyer consultation and, they are hesitant to sign a BRA, then I'll usually say, hey, I understand that you don't want to be locked into a long-term contract. We just met. What I'm willing to do is we can set up a temporary contract for just the properties we're going to go see this week. And then from there, if you like how I work, then we can move on. But if they won't sign a property specific one, then I'll usually say like, hey, sorry, I'm unable to show you the property. And then just move on.
Yeah, no, that's good. And then in terms of signing, as I remember, Tom, you try to get them sign live while you're there, or do you send it off, or what's your process?
Yeah. So the way my buyer presentation goes is the first thing we do is, I share a little bit about myself, and then we discuss agency, because in order to get an online lead to sign with you, you have to explain to them why it benefits them, right? What they're getting in terms of why should they sign this? Because, hey, I don't want to be locked into a realtor, but, I've gone over this with Lawrence before, and I show them like, listen, you have the option when working with a realtor of being a client or a customer. And then I explain to them, all of the things that I'm going to give them if they're my client, and all of the things that they're not going to get if they're a customer. And I tell them, listen, I don't work with customers. I only work with clients, right? And then after I've gone over agency and explained all of the benefits that they're going to get, and I try to stress that, listen, while I'm talking about agency, you don't need to choose me as a realtor. You need to choose a realtor. And these are the reasons why, right? And this is how agency works, and this is how the system works. And then I go into a little bit more depth on asking questions about what they like, and then pull up the MLS and we look at some properties online together with my screen shared, so that I can get their feedback on things that they don't like and things that they do like on the properties, and try and narrow it down to, okay, what are we going to go see next, right? And then at the end, when I try to get them to sign the contract, what I'm doing now is I'm doing an in-person signing through Dotloop. And then I'm giving them remote control over my screen to click and sign while we're on the Zoom. So, you can give someone remote control and they can click on all the places to sign. And then because I also go through the contract with them and explain to them everything in the buyer representation and go over all of the paperwork and what it means. And we sign at that time. I say to them, listen, I don't want you to sign anything without fully understanding it. So before I ask you to sign anything, we're just going to go through all of the paperwork together, right? And I'm going to explain to you what everything is in terms of working with a realtor and the buyer representation agreement. And we talk a little bit about how offers work and how multiple offers work and just the different types of situations and what to expect in terms of the process between showing what status certificates are, what the lawyer's jobs are, everything about the process and how they should expect everything to go.
Cool.
Sorry, this is during your buyer representation agreement or your actual seminar?
During the Zoom meeting.
During the Zoom meeting. Awesome.
Yeah, I try to book them in a Zoom meeting. Prior to COVID, I was trying to get them into the office, and it's a lot harder to get someone into the office. I find that a Zoom meeting is a lot less threatening and really easy to book.
Mm-hmm.
Have you found your conversion rates the same versus in person over Zoom?
I found it's better. I found it went up a little bit. Maybe due to me becoming more experienced in terms of what I'm saying to people and how I'm handling people, trying to get people into the office. I was getting a lot more no-shows and a lot more last-minute cancellations.
Okay, that's pretty good. Anyone else have anything to do about Zooms and Zoom? So Tom, you record your Zooms, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else record their Zooms when you try? I mean, I usually start off with recording and then depending on what they say, I stop.
I've never had anybody say, "Oh, are you recording this?" Like no one has ever brought it up.
Yeah, except for that one time when I did it to you, just to see what you would say.
You're the only person who's ever brought it up. I just record them just for my own personal self. I like to see how I did.
Yeah.
Objectively, I don't do the seller. If they want to sell, I'm going to their house, right? I'm not going to try and book a Zoom for a seller. I want to get in person for that, just for the buyers, because a lot of buyers aren't serious. So I don't really want to waste my time driving to their house if they're like. I want to go through the Zoom and qualify them a little bit more.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, buyers are a different mindset. I mean, they're sort of looking at houses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to talk about the actual lead follow-up conversion type of process over many, many months. Just wondering what that looks like for all of you in terms of that lead follow-up.
Yeah, like Colton says, you got to be consistent. Sometimes, you're supposed to follow up with them. They don't answer. You got to keep trying. People don't always answer their phone, or you get them at the wrong time. You just got to keep trying, keep calling them.
So is that lead follow-up for the first contact or lead follow-up after you've had contact?
After I've had contact.
After you've had contact, you're still calling once a week kind of thing?
I don't call once a week. It depends on the situation and what we talked about in the first call. Like if I have someone that says, hey, I'm not moving for 6 months, I'm not going to call them in a week.
Right.
I'll probably call them in like a month and just say, hey, I just wanted to check in and see if the situation that you told me X, Y, and Z is still the same. Have you been getting the listings that I've been sending you? Is there anything about the listings that you'd want to change, or something along those lines? But it depends on their timeline on how often I'm going to follow up with them.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, so if they're looking to purchase within 60 to 90 days, I reach out to them every 48 hours in some kind of way, either through text, email, or just whatever way of contact. And then I just somehow, I guess every email or phone call or whatever, I just give them value, right? Like I find out what street they're on. So if there's properties on their street, I kind of tell them what their property's for. I give them a market update. I just give some type of value. It could be as stupid as like, I don't know, it's winter time, like clean out your gutters, like, you know what I mean? Like just something that's going to show them that like I give value, right? And then with it, if they're moving within 90 plus days, it's every month, about a month, every month and a half. And if it's farther than 180 days, it's like every 2 months roughly, but it's constantly keeping in touch with people.
On the phone.
So is that on your drip campaign, or is that you actually sitting down and emailing them?
No, that's me personally sitting down and emailing them some type of whatever, right? Like every client's different, but it's automatically like, good morning, Sasha. Like it's putting their name in there. It's like, it's all customized to emails.
Oh, so email follow-up, not phone follow-up, or just a combination of many things?
Combination of many things. Like, and that's another thing of when I talk to them, I ask them what's their two most important things of communication, right? Some people say text, some people say call, some people say email. So whatever 2 forms of communication they tell me, those are the 2 forms that I stick with.
I like that. Never asked that.
Yeah,
Especially
I like that as well.
in this day and age.
No, that's a good tip.
Well, if you call them all the time and they hate calling, you're just like, oh no, right? But a lot of people are like, yeah, I don't mind if you email me, if you call me once in a while. So it's like, okay, I'm going to call you and text, or I'm going to call you and email you. I'm not going to text you, right?
Yeah, makes sense. That's good.
Oh. Yeah, if you get the two forms, I find is good.
And have you guys ever outsourced? This happens sometimes. People outsource the lead calls, or do you just do it all yourself, or have you tried?
Do it all myself.
I tried for a few months, and I just had a horrible experience. They like with a lot of these companies. Like they're gonna call and try and set appointments for you, but like a lot of the stuff, like they're trying to run a profitable business, so they want to spend time disqualifying people. So you know, I found that there was a lot of people, like I was with them for about 3 or 4 months. They weren't performing anywhere near close to what they had promised me. And then, you know, after 4 months, then I started going back and calling all of these leads. And some of the leads that they had disqualified were actually just maybe they shouldn't have disqualified. And then also like they weren't emailing them. They weren't switching the listings. You know, when someone says, hey, I'm looking to buy this kind of property, they were using they weren't going into my agent locator. They were, my leads were being sent to their follow-up boss. And there was a disconnect between what my system was sending them and what they were doing. You know, and then sometimes people would reply to the emails and they wouldn't get that email. And then I don't know what so it was a big hassle. And at the end of the day, not worth it.
No, totally agree.
Okay, that's pretty good. No, some realtors have talked to me and said they've had good experience with it. You know, obviously there's a spectrum, but some just don't have time to, either they don't want to make the calls or they just don't have time to make the calls because they're too busy running around. So they're just like, okay, I'm just gonna throw money at it. And then occasionally I have like a hot lead, right?
I think what I found is it all comes down to like not the company that you use, but the individual ISA that is handling your account, right? If that particular ISA is good on the phone, then they're probably going to get you lots of appointments. If they're newer or inexperienced, and like when you're hiring a company, you don't know which ISA they're going to assign to your account, right? So I found like when I was with the ISA service, they started off, the first person they gave me was pretty crap. Then this person quit. Then it seemed like they had hired somebody new and that person wasn't converting. And then they put someone, I guess, on my account that had some experience and I started getting some appointments. But like overall, it was just not a good experience. It created too much work for me.
Okay. And just so people don't know, ISA means inside sales agent. It's just somebody who's taking calls to make calls for you, in case you're wondering what ISA means.
Yeah, I mean, getting back to the ISA, I believe with Tom, like I mean, we're the professional here. We know kind of like we have our own system, or at least I have my own system of when I call and what I say and stuff like that. So I think just coming from me personally is definitely help with lead conversion. And I mean, if someone else is calling, you have no idea what the heck is happening behind the scenes, right?
Yeah, and plus it's not like they know the market. They can't answer the other questions. They're just pretty much.
If
You
someone
want to buy a
asks
house
you
now?
what's this house sold for on this street, the guy can't be like, oh wait, let me call Colton or whoever,
Yeah.
right? Like I just pull it up on my computer and I give them that information right away, right? So
Yeah, for sure. That helps a lot.
Or just to try and get you an appointment with them, or get you a phone call with them, which I could get that phone call myself just by calling them.
correct. Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
You're gonna book a phone call for me. Hey, I can just call people and get those phone calls.
Yeah.
But I was, when I originally signed up, I was expecting that they were going to set up like a buyer consultation for me every time, and it wasn't. They had promised, I think, like 10 to 15%. They promised me 14% appointment conversion, which they weren't even getting like 1%. Like it was just horrible. It was a big waste of money.
14%. I don't think anyone gets 14% back.
That'd be awesome.
I can actually, I think I'm probably getting close to 14%, not conversion into sales,
Oh, just a phone call.
but conversion.
Yeah, just a phone call. But I mean, like 14% closed deals. I'm like, yeah, I wish.
No, like 14%. Like I can get probably 10 to 15% on a Zoom call with me.
Yeah.
Not 14 or 15%.
Yeah.
Like 14, 15%, like in a meeting.
Yeah.
Right, and then you expect maybe of those 14 or 15%, maybe 1 out of 4 will actually do business with you.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about metrics now. If you guys would like to share about those specifically, people are always wondering about how much I should spend, 200, 300, whatever. I don't think that's as important as cost per lead and also lead conversion of the number of leads that go through. So if you have those numbers handy or have an idea, like roughly, just so people have an idea.
I've got to go in like 5 minutes, but like I haven't been tracking my numbers that much.
Mm-hmm.
But I can usually, just off the top of my head, of every like 10 people that I talk to, I can usually get one of them or more on a Zoom meeting with me.
Mm-hmm.
Of the Zoom meetings, I could probably maybe like 1 to 2 out of 4. I could actually want to do business with me. Of those, there's a lot of people that I'm getting who are ready to sign a BRA, but they don't qualify for the loans. So that sort of brings the conversion rate down a little bit. But I think like for most people, I think for me, it's around like 2% or 3% or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're getting 100 leads, you should be able to get 2 deals.
And cost per lead for you, maybe $5 to $10, or you?
I haven't been tracking
the number offhand. Any other numbers? Colton, you want to share any numbers or?
Yeah, so I spend around $200 to $250 on Google. I've been with Agent Locator now for about 5 months, I think it is. And I have 260 leads from Agent Locator.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working with about 3 to 4 of those buyers that came into, like, I'm signed in on my website and stuff like that. So, I mean, $200 to get a commission check of 10 grand isn't a bad return.
It's a good return. Definitely. There's some work in the background, but it's from a pure money point of view, it's good.
Definitely. Yeah.
You have any idea, Cameron, any numbers on your end out of curiosity that you like to share?
I haven't actually been, because remember I told you I'm just actually starting to venture off into online generation purchases, but I do track all my calls, even my emails, to kind of see how am I converting in that end. So the next step is definitely to take a look at the clicks per client, per lead. But one of the questions I had is, have you noticed, Colton, you were saying about Google, and with the recent changes with Google, has it made it more difficult that you can't narrow down your demographic when you're advertising?
So obviously Agent Locator, there's so many new statistics, like every day is a new thing with Google, right? So because Agent Locator's on that back end, they take care of everything. Like I just literally receive the lead, and they take care of everything else. Plus I have a customized website with them too. I've had 2 people sign in on my site. I actually have a lead or a listing tonight from just my site alone. So I mean, I've been bold leads I've heard is crap. Don't go with bold leads. But I've heard agent locator I've been with for 5 months, and it's been good. Especially the website is it's good. It is too. So and they're very customer service. Like if I ever have a testimonial, I literally email customer support, and within 5 minutes it's on my page. So it's good. I'm really happy with them, especially for $300 a month. Like it's not bad.
Very nice. Tom has an appointment to go to, so unfortunately he's gone, which is why I try to get as much as I could out of him now. Otherwise, no. So those are the main topics that I had. Otherwise, the only thing left was I have a bunch of random objections if you want to go through that.
Yeah, just curious for CRM systems. I'm using Contactually right now.
Yep.
But I've heard Follow Up Boss is a new and updated one, or I've heard a lot of people use Follow Up Boss.
Yeah, I haven't
used Contactually versus then jump to Follow Up Boss, or opposite.
I haven't used it, although I was talking with Mohammed earlier, if Mohammed wants to jump in about your 2 cents. But
Sure.
I haven't used Follow Up Boss, but I have looked into it. Mohammed, did you want to talk? Or
Go ahead, you can finish.
no. So specifically with Follow Up Boss, I don't have any experience with that particular CRM, though I do with Agent Locator and Exact and getting into KV Core. But Follow Up Boss I've heard has been pretty good, just specifically for the follow-up part of it.
Cool.
Mohammed?
Yep. So Colton, I've been using Follow Up Boss for the past few weeks now. My brokerage, they do a lot of pre-construction, so they primarily use Follow Up Boss for that reason. And I think it's amazing because I was using iExact for the past year or so.
Yeah.
And just the amount of features that Follow Up Boss has, especially with automation, integration with all these other apps like MailChimp, BombBomb, Zapier. So it just makes the follow-up process a whole lot easier. And you can set up action plans. Like, let's say you have a lead coming in from realtor.ca or your website. You set up like 4 or 5 different steps, like immediately send them a text that, hey, you inquired about this property. Can I get you more information? And then a day later, send them a follow-up email. So all of that, all those steps are basically eliminated from your.
So it's kind of like Contactually, because Contactually you can draw, like I've created like boxes of like first-time home buyer, investor, and then depending on the box that specifically is in, it'll email them on a daily basis, like based on that platform, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I use Follow Up. Sorry?
Yeah, go ahead.
I use Follow Up Boss for about 2 years, and it's a great platform. I think it's really the top tier platform in my opinion. However, at the same time, just like Mohammed said, it's more set up for a team environment. So you won't really benefit full systems applications without having 6, 7, 8 people on your team, just because it does allow you to streamline that communication. For you to do it manually, I think if it's just one person using a CRM, really it will do the same thing as anyone else, what any other platform would do. However, with Follow Up Boss, it's because, as you said at the beginning, the integration with a lot of the applications. If you're in a team environment, you'd probably have an administrator or someone who would process all those. But for you to sit down, it's going to eat up a lot of time, and that constant nurturing of those applications can eat up a lot of time. And that's the only that's the only way you can really utilize Follow Up Boss versus other platforms I've used.
Nice. I've asked a few top agents of what CRM system they use, and it's funny. Everyone says like any CRM system is great if you use it. I'm like, yeah, that's fairly true.
Pretty much it. I am curious though if Follow Up Boss has better mechanisms for following up, just in terms of like lists and that kind of stuff for you to sort things. Although for Colton, I'm assuming you're using Agent Locator for that. Like you're just using the filters and going through. Is that how you're?
Everything that drops from Agent Locator goes into my CRM system through Contactually.
Oh, through Contactually. Okay.
Yeah. So.
They do have a great filter system, by the way. It's really robust.
They do.
I wouldn't say, with Follow Up Boss, you really can't get anything better. But again, it does do a lot of things that the other CRMs do provide as well. And really, sometimes less is more, so.
Cool.
Cool. That's pretty good. Just wanted to throw some random objections at you if you
Sorry,
guys.
sorry, Lawrence, can I
Yes,
talk for
yeah.
a second? Hi.
How's it
Hi,
go?
come on, Badia.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I was just listening to to most of you guys, and I do online leads, and I just wanted to jump in on this conversation with Follow Up Boss. I have Follow Up Boss, and I also have Chime, which is another system. Yeah, if you look at the top tier systems, you're looking at things like Boomtown, you're looking at Ylopo, you're looking at Chime, you're looking at Follow Up Boss, there's a whole bunch of stuff there. What Follow Up Boss would do, and I don't think that's it, I think Agent Locator is now getting into that. With Follow Up Boss, you're able to, the action plans, you're able to email, you're able to text, you're able to call, and that's the same thing with Chime. The difference with Follow Up Boss is that you've got to attach it to a website. Chime gives you the website similar to Agent Locator, but with Chime you have the mobile app, which I can text, I can call, I can do everything through it. Also in Chime as a CRM, I have the ability to push listings. I also have the ability to give them monthly reports. So they're different levels. It all depends on what you're looking for. I do also have Agent Locator. Agent Locator can do a lot of this stuff, but there's some drawbacks. For the automation, I find Follow Up Boss is good. I heard the comment about the team. I don't have a team, and so I'm not sure what the drawbacks there. Follow Up Boss has just implemented a bunch of texting. So I think that's where that automation is. For a real CRM though, in terms of you're going to track like anniversary dates and all that stuff, these systems are limited. So I think you always have to use a combination. So that's where like the Isaac contact will come through, because you have anniversary dates and birthdays and all that. So it all depends on what you're looking for. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in on that one.
Gail, where are you storing mailing addresses for mailing?
I do it in Chime.
That one's in Chime? Okay.
Yeah. And anniversary and anniversaries and stuff. And Chime has a lot of integration. Chime is similar to Follow Up Boss, but Chime is a little bit above, as it has that website component attached to it.
So Chime is CHIME?
CHIME.me.
Okay.
I feel like there's so many companies, like, I mean, as a real estate agent, like you can spend thousands or you can spend like hundreds of thousands on marketing stuff.
Yeah, just
like
on the platforms.
How much stuff's available to us. You just have to decide what pick 3 things and just roll with it, right? But like every day there's someone new calling me like, hey, check this out. And I'm like, when my first year in real estate, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll try this.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, no, like I'm sticking to what I'm done, right? So
I think the thing to remember is your systems. What are your systems, and what platforms support your systems?
Yeah,
to jump all over the place. I mean, if your system works, let it work.
Yeah. I mean, I have a coach, and I talk to her on a weekly basis, and she even said, like, as soon as you don't have listings, like, what got you to where you are today? Like, just go back to the basics, right? Like FSBOs, door knocking, cold calling. Like, don't try something new and then you're just getting into another thing. Like, just keep doing what you've been doing and stick to the basics, is what she said. And I mean, it's been, since I've had her to say that, I mean, it's been a fantastic last 4 months, so I'm not complaining. But everyone thinks like, if there's something's not working, they need to try something else. It's like, just go back to what made you successful in the past, right? And I was like, that's a good scenario, because I would have spent more money to try something new, right? She's like, don't do that. Just stick to what you've been doing, right?
Just curious, Colton, where do you keep mailing addresses and stuff? That's what I'm trying to figure out, just my different CRM system.
Yeah, so I actually send out cards as well.
Oh, okay.
So as soon as I get an address, my assistant locks it into send out cards.
Okay.
So in the shitty months, I guess, with COVID going on, I went actually through everyone in my whole neighborhood. So I found about 250 homes. And I found their personal names, their email, or their address, and I emailed them a card and say, hey, get well, it's Colton Davidson, your neighborhood realtor. Mm-hmm. So just from doing that, obviously with Geo Warehouse, we also have their yearly, we have their yearly anniversary as well, right? So I just added their yearly anniversary into that send out card as well.
The send out card is your main mechanism for mailing addresses. Cool.
Yeah. It's been great. I'm not handwriting 250 or 500 cards like I did last Christmas. I was almost divorced. 'Cause I didn't do it, my fiance did.
Yeah, that's a lot. Awesome. Well, I mean, I guess we're pretty much near the end here. And then we got to go into the next call. Wanted to see if you wanted to
quickly ask one question.
Sure.
For lead generation online, how many platforms is everyone using to generate leads?
Anyone?
What do you mean? Like how many like companies am I using?
Like, yeah, like you have Agent Locator, you may use Google AdWords, you may use Facebook.
Yeah, I literally just stick with Agent Locator and Google. I mean, $200 on Google is what I spent. And I mean, I got 260 leads. Right. So I don't really want to spend much more. And again, I think it's not about how much money you spend. It's as soon as you get a lead, like it's dependent on how good you are at following up and following back with those clients. Right. I mean, if you get 500 leads and you're good at what you do, you should be able to close at least 10 to 15 of those 500 deals. Right. Even if you get 5 leads, I mean, you could spend $50, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much you really spend. It depends on just your follow-up and everything, right? But 200 is kind of the sweet point that I've heard from Agent Locator.
And it's enough that you can handle basically at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, multiplying it by 10 doesn't really help if you can't deal with them.
No, and I do have like someone else now that I've joined basically that works with me kind of thing, that if I get too busy, I just send her the lead and it's a 50-50 commission split between the two of us, which I mean, that's kind of how you build a business, right? So
yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Excuse the ignorance, but when you say Google, what do you do exactly on Google?
So as I said, I'm not sure if you were on there before, but what I said is Agent Locator, they literally take care of everything. So I have no idea what happens behind the scenes, but obviously that's why I'm paying them what I'm paying them. Every day, I think like the statistics or whatever word they use with Google to change out how you basically get the lead, Agent Locator takes care of all that. So I'm not the most technical person or technological person. So, I mean, that's why I have them do that on the back end of things, because every day is a different day with Google, right? They're changing their, I don't know what the word is, but you know what I'm talking about.
Their algorithms. I mean,
yeah, their algorithms. Exactly.
The basic idea is that you're paying Agent Locator. Agent Locator deals with all that stuff, whether they're, I mean, if they're advertising Google, Facebook, whatever it is, they're dealing with it. They're giving you a lead. And so that's what Colton's saying versus advertising directly to Google and then, sending them to your website or something.
Yeah, I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything of the lead gen. Like they're doing everything on the back end, and I literally just receive the lead and take care of it however I deal with it.
Mm-hmm. And does anybody know anyone who's helpful with actually teaching you what kind of content to put on your Facebook ads?
You can talk offline, but I mean, there's a few people that I would probably recommend for that kind of stuff, and there's a few different groups that, there's.
I've heard that now that's a far better route to go than door knocking, cold calling.
Yeah, it's just like that. That's like a pretty long conversation. The question is really about whether you want to outsource that or you want to handle it yourself, and sort of like learn how to write ads and put the money in, which you'll save money in the long term, but like over the short term, it'll take a lot longer. The learning curve is pretty high. Or you just outsource it, which will be expensive, but you'll get the results a lot quicker.
There's a bunch that I see online on Facebook. It's literally like homes under 500, and then they'll have like 6 pictures of homes under 500,000, right?
Yeah.
And then people will click on it, and that's the lead. But that's really all I see for ads on Facebook is like homes under 400, homes under 500, like that's, and then they just post the pictures from whatever site they want, and they just take a screenshot of it. and then they just post that picture online, and it drops them to a landing page on their website.
Yeah, but Jennifer, you can reach out with me later, and then I could just talk to you about that offline.
Okay,
That's
great.
probably
Thank
fine.
you.
No, it's not a problem, but it's yeah. I mean, that particular one is probably because they had a thing like, okay, homes under 300, and then that's what they teach all the people, and everyone just does it, right?
Yeah.
You see like 100 of them out there.
Right.
That's normal. Okay, well, I mean, I guess that's pretty much at the end of our time here. So I just want to thank everyone for joining here, and we're talking Colton, Cameron, and Tom, who's not here anymore. I guess everyone want to sign off. I'm Lawrence Mack out of Mississauga. Colton, you want to just say bye?
Yeah, bye everyone. Thanks again. All the best with being safe, and all the best, I guess, in your
And
business.
where are you out of, Colton?
Kitchener-Waterloo.
Kitchener-Waterloo. Cameron?
Yeah, thanks everyone. It was a blast today. I'm in York Region, Richmond Hill. My office is downtown, but I'm actually going to be residing downtown soon. So there you go.
Cool.
Residing downtown soon. Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks everyone. We'll catch you next time or online.
Take care, Lawrence.
Thank you.
Bye.